There's a lot I can talk to you about today, but I think the most useful thing for you is to hear how I actually planned for this January reset. If you're new to my channel, this is day 2 of my vlog, where I took a month off of my 9 to 5 to give myself the time to take that final push and reach any of my goals that I wanted to accomplish, my mindset, habits, before I turn 30 next month. Yesterday was actually the first day where everybody finished their holidays and went to work. It was on a Monday, and I woke up guilt-free, day 1 of my month off. And let me tell you, that feeling that I had, it was undescribable, because usually when you take vacations, you are like still rushing. You're constantly rushing. You just finished work, you're rushing then to get to the plane, you're rushing to clean your house. You have a limited amount of time to, usually only take a 1 week off or something, because it's North America and our vacation isn't as great as Europe. But there's always pressure, and there's always this like plate of responsibilities that is on your shoulders. And for the first time, I did not feel that. I woke up and I was excited to be awake. I started my day off with a meditation, a workout. I had some other things planned for the day, but that feeling of wanting to wake up and wanting to live life and do something for myself was something I haven't felt in a while. And usually when I'm going to my 9 to 5, we've all been there. You wake up in the morning, you're exhausted, you're rushing to get to work, or if you're working from home, you're running to the computer, still in your pajamas, turning things on. Everything feels like a rush. You're still groggy half the morning. By afternoon, you finally wake up. There's some productivity. Evening comes around. There's errands to run. And it's this vicious cycle. And I haven't felt motivated in a very long time. And yesterday was different. And part of the reason that yesterday was different was my preparation. So the first thing that I did was make sure I closed out everything for work. There was nothing left on my plate that I could worry about this month. I stayed up on the Sunday before until 3 a.m. I kid you not, 3 a.m. to wrap everything up. But when I went to bed, I knew there was no calls that are going to happen. There was nothing. Like, I am clean for that whole month. I did everything I needed to do, and I can really focus on this 1 month. That was probably one of the best things I did, because a lot of times you're rushing on vacation and stuff, you're trying to wrap everything up, but there's still some things that you don't have enough time to finish, and so you get left behind, and then it gets left behind, and then it's just like still on your shoulders, at the back of your mind somewhere, that you have to do this when you come back. I had none of that. So that is my number 1 tip. I was also extremely fortunate with my timing. I initially planned to do this reset 2 months earlier, but I'm very grateful that that didn't happen, because I was mentally not ready. I didn't have, a plan in place, and it would have been a waste. I was not there yet, first and foremost, up here. And then, so having December, which is already a pretty chill month, there's this busy rush to wrap everything up, but then everyone takes, 1-2 weeks off. So I had 1-2 weeks where I was able to be chill, enjoy time with family, celebrate the holidays, and then take my actual time off. So I had a bit of a reset already. On top of that, I wrapped up my work. And 2 more things I did that I would recommend you to do as well is, 1, actually plan out my month. So on the Saturday before everything started, I actually sat down and I wrote down everything that I wanted to accomplish. I wrote down the tasks associated it. So like, one of my things is like, let's say start a business, right? I'm not going to go into the details yet. I'll share that along the way if you're interested. But I wrote down the exact steps and things that have to be done, at least in the next 2 weeks. And then I started time blocking it. I kind of reorganized priorities. Okay, this has to be done in the first week if I want things to happen in the second week. These are the commitments I have. So I just took a monthly calendar. I marked off like, commitments that I can't change, like birthdays, any trips already planned. And then I started working with, okay, here are the tasks and what tasks need to be done earlier in the month and which tasks can wait for later. These tasks included things I actually wanted to work on, like goals, and like I said, starting a business, some of my personal passions, but it also included errands like decluttering, taxes, and stuff like that, because you can't just go a month focused on one thing. There is day-to-day life that needs to happen. There are other responsibilities. So I kind of wrote down priorities, what can wait, what cannot, and I started almost like putting it together like a puzzle piece. And I did a rough draft, so I did it by week. I initially started, because you know what they say, if a goal seems way too big to reach, you just break it down into smaller steps. So it's not going A to B, it's going A, B, C, D, E, F, and all until you get to your goal. And that is so much simpler. So before I even started putting things down into my calendar, what I did was actually break it down by week. So I was like, I have 4 weeks, week 1, 2, and 3, and 4. So what needs to get done in each of these weeks? And I wrote down, and I took some of those tasks and I just dragged them to the week. Once I had the tasks within the week, I started breaking it down by day. And I really recommend to do that if you're somebody who has ADHD or just difficulty with organization. It's a great method to start with a big chunks and slowly making it more manageable. Because if I just sat down initially and I just started taking all of these things that I need to get done and I was trying to put it all into this day-by-day calendar for the month, I would feel overwhelmed. There'd be too much. It would be hard to organize. So it was way easier to first put it into not 31 days, but to put it into 4 blocks, which is the weeks, and then break it down further into 7, which was the days. So I would really recommend that if you're somebody like me who has difficulty with organizing. And honestly, I think it's just an overall good tactic to have when you're trying to achieve anything. Break it into smaller, manageable parts without overwhelming yourself. So that's something I recommend to do. Write out the steps. So if you have a goal, I'm going to just recap this one more time. You have a goal, you want to do something, break down the actual task, make an email, let's say, right? Like if you need to start, let's say if you want to start your social media, you have to have an email in order to create an account. So you make an email, create your social media accounts, write out the bio, record your first video, like plan it, like those are all steps. And when you clearly understand those steps, even if they're little and mundane, you're like, well, this is just, journal, it still counts. It's very much real. It's very much needs to be scheduled in because it will still take up time to do, especially if this is something new for you, you haven't done before. There is a learning curve associated with things as well. When I first did my first video for TikTok, it was 30 seconds and it took me 3 hours. I kid you not, 3 hours to edit it, because there's a learning curve. My next video only took me half an hour, so massive jump, but there is that learning curve. The final thing was mentally preparing for it. And what worked for me is to prepare for this month, because I initially was panicking. I was like, oh my God, I only have 1 month. I want to start these businesses. I want to do these tasks. I have no idea what I'm doing. And it was a bit of a panic. So actually having this month pushed by a few months was a lifesaver for me, because it let me process all those feelings, process all that fear, the confusion, and actually take baby steps towards it. So some of the things I did was casually start working on these things without the pressure that I needed to succeed, because I knew that in 2 months I have this time to actually focus on it. So this was like a trial period when I have free time after work with no pressure. And that was really great for me too. So one of the things I did was in December, I actually started some TikTok and Instagram accounts for this channel. This is January and we're now on YouTube, but in December I started with those 2, and I gave myself this task. it was going to be my 30th PR challenge. And I'm still actually doing that, and I will share more about that in the upcoming days. But for my 30th birthday, I wanted to see, with no investment financially, with no following on social media, is it possible to have an awesome birthday? But more importantly, I wanted to step into my 30th with this energy that, hey, you know, try things, try new things, put yourself out there and see if anything works. Similar to, if you know, the rejection challenge, this was kind of a similar concept. And although, yes, it would be great to have this really cool birthday that's, you know, with PR packages and PR events and stuff like that. But the most important thing for me was stepping out of my comfort zone and just doing things that could get me closer to my dreams that don't seem realistically possible and don't seem like they'll work. So I started with that and doing those videos. I did it for 2 weeks in the beginning. It was hard. I'm still feeling really awkward to be on camera, but I'm here. You'll probably notice in the upcoming days as I record my videos, the beginning of them, I'm quite shy. It's very hard to talk to a camera. I'm still figuring out lighting, still figuring out, you know, how I should be looking. I'm not really doing any editing. These are specifically raw blogs, and I'm doing them on purpose. There will be like YouTube shorts and TikTok and Reels, which are going to be more planned out. But this is me freelancing. This is me just talking and seeing where this goes. So sorry, back to the point. I was able to do a bit of videos. The holidays came around, everything was forgotten. It was actually very hard to come back to this, but having some time to just play around and make mistakes was very helpful too, because firstly, it made me also understand how much time and energy I need to put into this, which is more than I actually thought. Social media takes up a bit more time, but I thought it was crucial that I do this. And going into it now, I did a bit of pre-planning on some of my business ideas, did some strategizing, I did some posting already and video recording, and now going into January, I have an idea of what things are kind of looking like. No real progress was made. I'm not getting new clients. I don't have a big following. It didn't go viral, but it was this safe zone for me to get a glimpse of what this month is going to look like. So if you're feeling super stressed and you're trying to do this task, push it out 2 more weeks and give yourself the time and space to actually mentally just process everything and prepare for it. So those are my few tips on what I did and to prepare. And I feel like I'm in a great place, because just waking up yesterday and not feeling the weight on my shoulders and feeling like I'm doing this and this is the right thing and the timing is right and the mindset is right. I'm not even going to go into how the stars aligned, and even regarding to my menstrual cycle, how everything worked out perfectly. And if you want to hear more about that, you can comment below and I can make a video about that. But it just felt good. And when you do this, if you decide to do this, I want you to have that same feeling on your first day. Now, it might be very different the next couple days, and the motivation is going to drop and it's going to go up and down and all over the place, and we don't even know if this is going to work. But that first day, that feeling, I can hold on to that now for the rest of the month. So with that, I'm going to wrap up this video and get to work.